I want to have a conversation about the quality of the choices that we make in life. Good, bad, or indifferent, they all have fundamentally important consequences attached to the outcome of our favor and fortune. However, the good thing about life is that our ability to prioritize our importance in terms of how we want to show up in the world is key. We all have the capabilities to be change makers of difference, and it's incumbent upon all of us to define such a noteworthy definition. Because at the end of the day, folks, here's the deal. Life is so impotently short, but when we do have the opportunity to make a difference, we must capitalize on it. Even if our story is filled with moments of redemption, which we can turn into triumph, because without a shadow of a doubt of hesitation, adversity is going to strike all of us. None of us, as you've heard me say plenty of times, are immune. And our definition of our response to that adversity is for us to author on an individual basis the vices and temptations that tempt our every move. If we have a past that we aren't particularly proud of, are for us to manage and to raise our hand if we need help in successfully executing the vision of a game plan to get that done. If you listen to the story of my friend Cameron Race, you'll instantly be inspired to level up in every aspect of your life. Cameron's story is filled with triumphs, stumbles, and learning lessons along the way. Race believes that igniting transformation through mindset mastery and relentless action is the key to success. Race says that he was formerly stuck in a cycle of delayed starts and broken self promises to himself. He discovered that the key to unlocking potential is resolved in your mindset and way of thinking and shifting your beliefs to align with the vision that you want to have for the rest of your life. Race says that the key to success in life is forming your own individual path to prosperity and not being afraid to ask for help if you stumble along the way. But it all starts with the internal motivation to get up, succeed, and prosper throughout every aspect of every corner of your life. And now, as a personal development coach, he helps people to optimize their fitness and personal potential in their lives by holding them accountable to achieve the results that they set out to achieve and making sure that they cross the finish line of victory one step at a time. And Race joined me this week to tell me more. I'm Kevin McShane. Let's have this conversation. Cameron, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, my friend, and I'm super excited to learn how you help people learn and to live a better life through mindset and mastery, my friend. Great to see you, and thank you for a few minutes this afternoon.
Absolutely, man. Happy to be here.
Absolutely no. Kevin, I know your professional story starts by helping people ignite their inner sort of warrior through mindset and mastery, my friend. So I'm wondering if we could start our conversation by you telling me what makes you so fabulous and why you love what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah, listen. I spent a number of years, I had a pretty checkered past, but I tell you that I've always been, super positive. The biggest thing that's really ignited this flame in me, I've been growing towards this for years, but it's really been my family. When my wife got pregnant with our first son, is when I really started dropping my vices. I stopped smoking weed at that point in time. The day that my son was born, I quit nicotine cold turkey. I adopted some fitness routine whenever my son, when he was really young, because I started having back problems, and I realized, hey, listen, I don't want to be this dad that has to sit on the sidelines because I'm unable to interact because I've got these physical ailments. Fast forward to back in August of this year, found out that my wife was pregnant with our second child, and then a few days later, I lost my job that I had had for 6 years, and so through that process, it really caused me to look inward, and I was going through interview processes to join another bank. I worked as a commercial relationship manager for a bank, and through that process, realized that my passion really wasn't in banking. Everyone would ask me in interviews, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Well, I had the same bottle response every time. In 10 years, I see myself as a business owner and owning real estate. And it was the same answer for the previous 5 years. I wasn't making any steps towards that. And so, what I've realized was I dropped a lot of my vices. I just needed to take it to that next level. And so what I adopted was an early morning wake up time. So I wake up between 3 and 4 o'clock every morning. I spend time reflecting on myself, reading wise words and quotes. I go right into physical activity. I work out from 5 to 7 a.m. And then I use the rest of my day to help others, help my family, and try to inspire others through my story. And so, it's about really just figuring out what your purpose is. For me, my purpose is to be the best version of myself, both for me, but also for my family. I feel like we live in a world full of, boys disguised as men. And that, if I want my son to really get out and make change in the world, to be the best version of himself, I have to show him, I have to illuminate the path. And so, that is where I'm at today is trying to live as a man of character, a man of principle, a man of values that other people can look to for inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin, I'm curious to ask you, how would you define the term resilient prosperity? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I think resilient prosperity, at the end of the day, resiliency is what breeds prosperity. And so, it is those folks that are willing to just stick with it day in and day out. They have a vision of what their future looks like, and they don't care what stands in their way, because guaranteed things are going to get in your way on a day-to-day basis. But you have to overcome those things and stay focused on that future, goal that you have for yourself. And at the end of that is that, success is what you're looking for.
Yeah, and Kevin, I'm a huge believer in internal motivation, and I'll tell you why, my friend. So, I'm not sure how much reading you did on me, but I was born with what's called spastic quadriplegia, cerebral palsy. It simply means that I don't have enough oxygen in my legs to walk normally, Cameron. And at the age of 9, buddy, I was told by my primary physician who was taking care of all my surgeries for my disabilities. Uh, I wouldn't be able to walk for the duration of my life because of the severity of my cerebral palsy. So I'm a big believer in internal motivation and really blocking out the external noise that uh, can be used as vices. So, what does it mean to you to maximize internal motivation?
Yeah, so I mean, here's the deal. At the end of the day, we all have negative self-talk. We all have a part of us that vibrates in a low frequency. And so what I believe is that when you drop the vices, when you really get clear on your purpose, when those negative thoughts, those low frequencies creep in, you you're in touch with your conscience, and you're able to take whatever from that situation and elevate back out of it. And I'll give you an example. So I told you at the beginning of our conversation, I get up between 3 and 4 o'clock every day. This past Saturday, I slept through my alarm. I turn over and it's 5:20. I could have been, there was a time where I'd be mad at myself for the entirety of the day because I missed that wake up time. But what I decided is that is not me. That's an old version of myself. And so I had to, harness the negative emotions that I felt from it so that I wouldn't do it again, right? Remember how terrible it felt, to course correct, but then lift myself back up into a high frequency state. That way I can offer my best version of self to the world. Because if I'm walking around as this low frequency self with negative thoughts, negative emotions, negative self-talk, then I'm not able to do what it is that I told you I'm setting out to do, which is to inspire other people.
Yeah, and Kevin, one of the reasons I was excited to talk to you today was because I wanted to ask you about the importance of mentorship, specifically for younger men, and really showing them the pathway towards a prosperity in today's society. So, what level of sort of importance do you think we should all have when we're trying to cultivate the next generation of leaders? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
Yeah, look, I mean, I feel as, I've dedicated my life to this. So I show up every single day on Instagram, sharing my life. Some of those days, again, I hit the marks that I tell you that I'm striving for. And then other days I miss the mark. But I tell you, I show up every single day and show you. And I think that's all that we can do for the next generation is just be real, show them what character looks like, show up no matter what, right? I think that's super important, is that you just have to keep going. We're all human. And so, I think the next generation has a whole new set of struggles that I didn't personally grow up with. And so, but here's the deal. We all face adversity and we all have to overcome. And so, I know the level of mentorship. I know what mentorship did in my life. I've had mentors in my career. I've had mentors in my personal life. And, it certainly helped me when I had an open heart and was willing to listen. It's one of those things where you have to drop ego, right? You can agree to that, right?
Absolutely, my friend. And I want to talk to you about the most important job that I think you'll ever have, and that's the role of father. And as you go through this transformational journey, I believe that life is a constant game of learning. And for your kids, obviously, you'll be the primary male example in their lives. So tell me about instilling virtues rather, or values in your kids, and how you want them to show up in society. Society, how important is that to you, my friend?
Oh, Kevin, it's of utmost importance. And the crazy thing is, there was a time when I would selfishly say that I didn't think I even wanted to be a father. And how wrong was I? I mean, it's my children that have caused all this change in my life. And so, how do I want them to show up? I want them to show up and be people of character, be people that lend a helping hand, that help the fellow man. And the reason being because I walked around and was pleasure seeking for so many years, and I was constantly feeling unfulfilled, and I didn't understand why. I was filling my time with vices and and just things that again I never filled up from those things. And when I really got clear on my purpose by dropping my vices and adopting a daily routine that most people would say is super difficult, I've gained so much clarity. And so what I want to do for my kids is just lead by example. And you know, in the 3 months that I've adopted this early morning wake up time, working out every single day, because I lived a sedentary lifestyle before that. I did not work out at all. I didn't do anything. I was doing well in my career. I was making multiple six figures. And so I thought that that was enough. But it clearly wasn't enough because internally I was lost. And so in the time that I've adopted this early morning wake up time and the exercise routine, now my son all the time is walking around the house and he's like, he's doing squats. He's 19 months old. He's doing squats. He's doing push-ups. He's asking to get on the pull-up bar. And so just in that short period of time, the changes that I've made in my life have made an effect on him. And so, just think about that across all areas. The way that I treat his mother and so on. So it's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Kevin, one of the main sort of synergies and mottos that I live my life by is that I have limited time for excuses in life because I personally believe, Kevin, that they're a deterrent to progress. So tell me about the importance of eliminating rather excuses and holding yourself accountable, because I know a large part of what you do is talking about accountability. So I'll leave the floor open for you to tell me all about your views on accountability, my friend.
Fuck yeah, Kevin. Yeah, listen. So, we have to hold ourselves accountable. As I look around, as I've adopted this lifestyle, my family's aware of it. Those people that are close around you, when you make them aware of these changes that you're making, all of them are still living the life that they've perceived for themselves, the life that they've been living for who knows how long, 10 years, 20 years. People get in these cycles and it's just the same repetitive nature over and over. And so if you're not accountable to yourself, other people are not going to hold you the same standard that you may have for yourself. And so that's what I've learned through this process, being around my family for the holidays, things as small as, I eat to my macros. So I eat the same macros every single day. I'm in a caloric deficit right now to lose weight, to get cut up, and present well. And then, we'll build from that. But, my family knows that I'm in this caloric deficit, and around the holidays, all of them, were like, hey, it's okay if you just, skip out on it this meal. You can have the dessert this time. It won't kill you. And so, it's just one of those small examples of if you don't hold yourself to the higher standard, then those around you are perfectly fine with you breaking your promises to yourself.
Yeah, and Kevin, you brought up vices a couple of times during our conversation this afternoon, and I know when you're trying to eliminate vices, there are avenues of temptation that sort of evolve, my friend. So tell me about how you got up from stumbles when you were trying to get through eliminating your vices, because it's a process, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a process, but I'll tell you, even where I'm at today, where again, I don't drink anymore. I'm sober, no drugs, no nicotine, none of that stuff. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, that becomes your new norm. And so when you miss in small areas there, it feels the same as it used to when you used to fuck up. And like, let's say back in the day, I didn't want to smoke weed and I'd smoke weed. I'd feel terrible about myself. Well, now, again, it's like going earlier in our conversation where I miss my wake up time and I get really upset with myself and I got to elevate. And so what do? I mean, it's what I described to you before. You have to realize that that is not the best version of yourself. And you have to learn from the experience, sit in how you feel, which should be negative if you're a human being and you missed, right? Because again, we're in tune with our conscience. We know when we're fucking up. It's the divine truth that's, shining through us. And so when that happens, you got to sit in that and then realize that that is not you. That is not the best version of you. And you have to move forward, right? I mean, it's about perseverance.
Yeah, and you're talking about perseverance, and I'm going to ask you about your sort of definition of the word perseverance, but I also want to know For anyone watching or listening to this, Kevin, I find you to be an inspirational and motivating person. So how do you find your motivation to sustain when things aren't going your way and the walls are sort of caving in on you? What are your thoughts there?
That's I've always been somebody that's been highly motivated. I just I spent my time and energy focused on the wrong kinds of things. I spent a number of years as a drug dealer. I was a really motivated drug dealer. I was really good at it. So for me, it's just been finding good uses of my energy, ways to expend my energy in a positive manner. I've never lacked the energy to do certain things, but I always hyper focus on one thing. So it was the drug dealing. Then in most recent years, the last 6 years, it was on being a great banker. And I was really good at that. I was working around other people that were 15 years my tenure, and I was running laps around them. What I've realized at this point, again, is that those things do not fulfill me. And so I have to move and spend my time working on things that fulfill me. And that's building a man that I'm proud of, that I can stand on my own 2 feet, have confidence, and then show people that even with my checkered past, even everything that I've been through, that I can stand here in front of you as a confident individual, know that I can bring value to the world, and try to again help other people to have the same realization and go out and do the same thing.
Yeah, and to that point, I'm curious, Kevin, if I asked you right now to close your eyes and go back 10 years, what's one lesson or message you would give yourself from 10 years ago that you didn't know then, but you know now?
Kevin, here's the reality is I don't know if I'd tell him anything. I have arrived where I'm at today based off the experiences that I've gone through. So I wouldn't want a shortcut in life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. The only reason that I am the person that I stand before you and am is because of all the experiences that I've been through. And so I just tell the motherfucker, keep going. You got this. And that's it.
Yeah, it's all about looking forward, isn't it?
That's right.
Kevin, one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast, and I've run the podcast now for just about 3.5 years, I told myself when I turned on the news or watched anything or consumed anything about society, I told myself there has to be more that brings us together rather than tearing us apart, my friend. So if I gave you the power to change one thing about society today that you wanted to see abolished, my friend, what's that one thing that you would get rid of in societal life today? What would be that one thing for you?
And Kevin, I think there's so much negativity. When you turn on the news, there's so much division of people, of thoughts, of ideas. Everyone is, they're just perpetuating division. And so, I hate that. I want to bring people together the same as you. And so I commend you for, starting the podcast and doing this because, people need this.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I want to revisit the idea of perseverance for just a second. So I'm going to share just a story about myself. So, Kevin, I graduated college back in 2010 with a journalism degree. And when I went into a news director's offices to try to get a job as a journalist, they looked at me and they said, Kevin, you have a lot of energy and enthusiasm for our business, but because of your disability, we view you as a liability. So, Kevin, it took me 6 years out of college to get my first paying job because no one would hire me because of my disability. So, what I did after college, Kevin, is I volunteered at a local television station for 4 years. I told them I don't want a paycheck, I just want the experience. And through that experience, I was able to work with the provincial government here in Canada, in the province that I live in, to develop a strategy to hire a special master to look into hiring people that look like me in the provincial federal government. And then I went on to do some more inclusive employment work for the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. So I'm curious, when you look at the word inclusion in all aspects of life, my friend, how do you think inclusion and perseverance are interconnected?
Yeah, well, Kevin, let me just start out by telling you, as you tell me that story, it gave me fucking goosebumps, right? And so, listen, have the utmost respect for you. You are certainly somebody that's living and breathing, perseverance day in and day out. Fuck, man, to say that I understand what you've been through, I can't, right? Everyone has their own struggles, but I think that I think that everyone has the opportunity to go out into the world and make their mark. And so sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes 5 years, sometimes it takes 10 years. But you decided what you wanted to do, and you wouldn't take no for an answer. And when you continued to get no for an answer, you thought, hey, let me reshape the confines of what I'm asking for. And so, I think that it goes back to what I wish that we could abolish, which is negativity. People are negative. People have negative biases, and so it's an uphill battle if you have different struggles than people are comfortable with or understand, and unfortunately, there's some educating that has to go on, and people have to begin to get comfortable with different types of folks. But we're all different, right? Like, I'm weird in my own ways, just the same way that you are, or anybody else, right? And it's finding these commonalities, these common threads. The same reason that we're connecting. You have been somebody that's persevered. You recognize that in me, and we wanted to get together and chop it up and have a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Kevin, I know that you work extensively to create a competitive advantage or an edge through fitness, my friend. So, from a fitness perspective and a life perspective, what do you think it means to create a competitive edge in life?
Yeah, really, I'll be honest with you, man. For me, it's not about creating any sort of competitive edge. I mean, the competitive edge is just a byproduct of me doing what I told myself that I would do day in and day out, which is a whole bunch of non-negotiable tasks. And it just so happens that a lot of other people are not willing to do those things. And so the longer I do them, the more I separate myself from these other folks. But it's just a byproduct of the lifestyle that I've decided to choose.
Yeah, and Kevin, when you say non-negotiable factors or traits in life, what are traits that you're unwilling to compromise on as you evolve in life, my friend?
Yeah, look, so again, it's living in congruence with my conscience. And the way that I'm able to do that is by doing difficult things. So it's waking up at an early wake up time between 3 and 4 a.m. It's spending time reading motivational quotes and quotes and different books from thought leaders, among the ages, and then taking certain ideas from each one of those people and then writing down my own thoughts, how that impacts my life, what changes I could make based off of that type of information. And then it's the diet and the exercise. Right now, I'm eating in a caloric deficit. It's tough. I'm hungry, but I do it because I have this greater purpose, and the greater purpose is for me to build this body that I'm proud of. Kevin, the reason I think that it starts with mindset, but then also fitness and nutrition, is because we're visual creatures. And so the time and effort that you put into your physical body, you certainly don't see it in a day. You don't see it in a week, maybe in a month, definitely after 3 months, you start to see this change. But that's a relatively quick time for someone to see results. When you start a new job or you start a new career, some of these things to really start seeing results, it can take a year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, hell, it could take fucking 6 years. And so the reason we start with a physical body again is because you can see results relatively quick. And then hopefully that is something that, that you can translate into other areas of your life and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And for myself, personally, Cameron, in order to stay physically active and physically fit, I love to swim, buddy, and lift weights just like you.
Oh, yeah.
And I challenge myself every day to be at least 10 minutes active every day because it builds endurance for me because of my disability. I don't have longer endurance than most people. So I challenge myself to be at least 10 minutes active every day. And one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you today was because I know that fitness is a huge priority in your life. And I'm wondering if you would have a message for someone that says, yeah, fitness is important to me, but I don't think I can elevate to the level of consistency in order to value my fitness as a top priority in my life. But I think fitness is a great internal motivator to live a longer life. Would you agree with that, my friend?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, again, it's a non-negotiable for me. I work out every single day. If you talk to certain people, you talk to bodybuilders and they tell you need days of rest. Well, I'm not doing it to build my body. Again, my body's going to look better over time just as a byproduct of me doing the thing. But what I'm doing here is trying to build a mindset of someone who doesn't miss. And so for me, that is doing hard physical activity every single day. And so, man, I wouldn't trade it for the world. When we have this conversation in 20 years, I want to be doing the same exact thing that I'm doing today because I know how great I feel every single day when I don't miss on what I tell myself that I'm going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin, I've got a trio of questions left for you. And the first of those three questions, my friend, is what do you think it means to be present in all aspects of your life?
Yeah. So, what I tell you is, again, for me, the most present I've ever felt is where I'm at today. And what allowed me to get here was getting really clear on what my purpose is. And that is to be a man that I look up to, a man that my family can look up to, and somebody that others can look to as, inspiration. And so getting clear on your purpose is paramount to, to live in that.
Yeah, and to that point, how do you also define elite leadership? Elite leadership, what do you think are the qualities of elite leaders, my friend?
I think, elite leader is somebody that's sober and leads from the front. I don't think that anybody should have a mentor that drinks on the weekends, that, does any sort of drugs. I think that you need to have a clear mind if you want to lead other people.
Yeah, and a couple of years ago, I interviewed a business coach by the name of David Averin. And David tells me that when you die, my friend, people won't remember the day you were born or the day that you die. Most likely, they'll remember the dash in the middle of your birthday and your death date. So if I challenged you to tell me how you want people to define your dash when your time on earth is over, my friend, how do you want your dash or your legacy to be defined?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm on repeat, but it needs to be repeated. Not enough people are sharing the message. Not enough people are living what I'm describing. But again, I hope that people would say that's a man that, lived by a set of principles, somebody that, that his family, like, I want people to say the best thing that could happen for me is, again, impacting other people's lives, most importantly, my kids. And so once I die and we're looking at the beginning date and the end date, and we've got that dash, that dash lives on through my children. Hopefully my children outlive me. And so I would hope that, I've, built them up to live out a legacy of individuals who have a high level of character and who want to go out and impact others in a positive, meaningful way.
Yeah, and Kevin, just before I ask you how people can get in contact with you, my friend, I'm also a big believer in the power and the importance of celebrating sort of the wins in life and just celebrating life in general, my friend. So, what does that mean to you to celebrate life, and why do you love to live, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, look, if it's not evident by now, the biggest thing that really sparks me, gets me going is my kids. My soon to be born child, and the one that's already on the earth, and of course my wife then as well, because she's the one that's blessed me with this. And so, I mean, it's the family for sure that gives me that inspiration. In terms of celebrating. Again, I'm living purpose. And so my celebrations are helping other people. When I get somebody that reaches out to me and my message has moved them and they've decided that they want to stop drinking, or, they want to drop the weight so that they can, instill confidence back in themselves. Those are the wins for me, right? The wins are seeing my son get down and do push-ups, in mimicking the behaviors of mine that I know that I'm proud of. Those are the wins.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. And do you think having your second kid it'll be easier the second time doing the father thing, my friend?
Oh, brother, who knows, right? I don't think we're ever prepared for any of it. It's as I think through again, I've got these early morning wake up times, and I think when my first son was born, and the sleepless nights that I had, the feedings in the middle of the night, and so I'm going ahead and trying to prepare myself for again continuing to not break character and what that's going to look like, but man, I'm super excited, right? Again, the level of growth that I've experienced since the day that I found out that my wife was pregnant with our son, I wouldn't even believe that it's possible, the change that I've made in my life. And so I think the same is going to be true for this second child. I think that, this kid's just going to continue to help push me and drive me to be a better version of myself. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cameron, I tell people, because people often ask me why I'm so positive about having a disability, and I tell them that there's no 50% off policy on having a disability, right? I can't take it back to the store and say I want to return this and put it on layaway, my friend. And I always tell them that Kevin, I view life as a standard deck of playing cards. We're all given 52 cards at birth, and it's up to all of us to sort of shuffle it in the direction that we want it to go, because our life direction is a choice, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Kevin, what's the alternative to you being positive? What's the alternative? That you just feel shitty about yourself and you just stay at home and you don't do this, which people need to see and hear. I mean, the alternative is way worse than just getting out and living in the body that you are giving and trying to make the most of it, right? I mean, look, you're a positive contributing member of society just like anybody else.
I always tell people you can either work for your circumstances or your circumstances can work for you. And I try to make my circumstances work for me each and every day, my friend.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. And finally, Kevin, tell me if people want to get connected with the good work that you're doing, my friend, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Cameron_race. That's CAMERON_race, RACE. Again, that's on Instagram.
Well, fantastic, my friend. I want to thank you for ending my Friday on such a positive note of difference, my friend. And I want to commend you for the good work that you do to move the needle of progress forward in life and fitness and everything in between, my friend. And I want to thank you for hanging out with me and engaging in conversation. It's most appreciated.
Kevin, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you having me on the show. And anybody who's listening, if you need any help, please feel free to reach out.